Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Let's get started. A man claims he was tied up and tortured in a Spokane Valley motel room, then abandoned at a local trailhead. He managed to call 911 after knocking on a family's door in the middle of the night. In this KREM 2 exclusive tonight, our Kyle Simchuk spoke to the woman who helped him and shows us what he found in the bizarre court documents.
He just was asking for help. He said, I need someone to call 911. Someone tried to cut off my hand.
Christina Bowen woke up at 3:45 in the morning to a man knocking at her door. She quickly realized he needed help. He had walked nearly a mile down a dark dirt road.
It was quite the ordeal from what he described.
According to court documents, the victim met a woman 2 days earlier at the Motel 6 parking lot in Spokane Valley. He says she invited him up to a room on the second floor. Once inside, the victim told deputies a man pointed a gun at his head while another placed him in handcuffs and blindfolded him. The victim says he was pushed onto a bed covered in plastic and shocked several times with what he described as a cattle prod. The attackers also pistol whipped him, leaving an open scalp wound, and sliced his wrist with a machete, breaking bones. The man says he was tied up in the room for more than 24 hours. Then one of the attackers forced him into his own car, abandoning him at the Antoine Peak trailhead. According to court documents, the suspect told him not to move and that they would be watching him. The injured victim eventually ran off looking for help.
He said that he couldn't get anyone's attention where he was dropped off, and so he had walked and to the first house that looked like someone was living in it.
Bowen called 911.
And once we kind of realized that he really was just looking for help, of course we invited him inside, and I haven't heard an update. I sure hope he's okay.
The man was taken to Deaconess Hospital for emergency surgery on his wrist, which he wrapped in a garbage bag. Deputies found his car at the trailhead and had it towed to be processed for evidence. The sheriff's office says this was not a random kidnapping and the victim may have been set up.
Detectives continue to investigate. So far, no arrests have been made. Reporting in Spokane Valley tonight, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Breaking news in Spokane's Sprague Union District. Best Asian Market had to close early tonight to clean up after a shooting nearby. The shooting happened behind the business. Our crew at the scene could see shell casings on the ground near the intersection of East Sprague and South Crestline Street. Looking ahead to tomorrow, a man accused of shooting someone in the jaw on the South Hill is expected to be in court. 65-year-old Gary Cottrill was arrested for first-degree assault after a man confronted him while slashing tires 2 weeks ago. His arraignment is set for tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. A rare move by the Spokane City Council tonight. The council passed a censure resolution against one of its own members. KREM 2's Ian Smay broke the story earlier today. New tonight, reaction from Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward.
That passes 5-2.
The Spokane City Council voted on Monday to censure Councilmember Jonathan Bingle. The resolution, sponsored by Council members Karen Stratton and Zach Sapone, was brought forth due to Bingle's refusal to wear a mask inside City Hall. The censure doesn't remove any of Bingle's power as a council member. It is instead a formal denouncement of his actions. Other council members have said he refused to wear a mask in City Hall after taking office.
I put this resolution forward because Councilmember Bingle is intentionally breaking the law, and even worse, he's using his office to break the law. This is the opposite of what an elected leader and a public servant should do.
Bingle and fellow District 1 Councilmember Michael Cathcart were the two who voted against the censure. Cathcart said he felt the process was rushed and done without enough public discussion. Bingle said he would be open to doing meetings and other work remotely to make others feel comfortable, but he doesn't plan to wear a mask. He said his stance has to do with representing the majority of his constituents.
This is not something I'm doing for self-promotion. Once this blew up in the news, again, not of my own accord, our business has obviously taken a pretty significant hit. This isn't something where I thought I was going to get ahead. This is something where I just listened to the people that I am tasked to represent.
The council also passed a resolution by a 5-2 vote to ask Mayor Nadine Woodward to enforce the city's mask rules and possibly investigate and prosecute those who violate them. Woodward spoke just minutes after the meeting ended. She said she was disappointed that the censure happened, as she thought steps could be taken before that. Woodward also said she thought the council should handle its own disciplinary issues instead of asking her office.
That was my role, is that I had our city attorney direct Bingle to comply, and we'll see what the process, how that rolls out.
The city has also received at least 2 notices from the state that people had reported violations of workplace mask rules at City Hall. Woodward said the city could be fined $14,000 per violation, which comes from taxpayer money. Bingle said multiple times during the meeting that other council members have also violated mask rules. Woodward said she hadn't heard those reports, but that she doesn't know everything that happens in council offices. Ian Smay, KREM 2 News.
Also new tonight, if you live in Idaho, you could have unclaimed money. According to the Idaho State Treasurer's Office, thousands of Idahoans could have money in unclaimed property, financial accounts, rebate cards, or anything submitted to the state after the owner could not be found. Right now, the state has unclaimed property totaling up to $207 million. To check to see if you have unclaimed cash, go to that link right there at the bottom of your screen. Now to the Nightbeat with a quick look at today's top stories. Today was day 4 of the Freeman community sharing their victim impact statements.
I remember hugging my kids so tight when they were finally released to us, but feeling immense guilt knowing that one mom was not able to do the same.
Today, several parents described the horror they experienced as they raced to Freeman High School and hoping to find their students safe. In about 5 minutes, we'll hear from other parents on how they reacted after finding out about that shooting. The president of the University of Idaho is rejecting claims that students were being indoctrinated, which he says led to a major cut in the school's budget. University President Scott Green says an independent study by a law firm was unable to substantiate those allegations. Last year, lawmakers cut $2.5 million from Idaho higher education budgets because of those indoctrination claims. Idaho Governor Brad Little has activated the National Guard to help hospitals and prisons amid the ongoing COVID surge. This is the 4th time the governor has activated the Guard to help with pandemic response. 75 guardsmen will assist primary health in southwest Idaho and the Idaho Department of Corrections. Both are experiencing staffing shortages because so many staff are out right now due to COVID. Little over 500 additional personnel have been secured through a state contract to assist Idaho hospitals.
Just big catch after big catch. He's competing in the run game. He does so many things. We would have no chance of being here without Cooper Kupp.
Eastern Washington alum Cooper Kupp is headed to the Super Bowl. That was his head coach Sean McVay giving him all the praise at that press conference today. The former Eagle scored both of the Rams' touchdowns in last night's win over the 49ers. Coming up in sports, we'll see how Kupp's feeling about the transition from playing at Eastern to now the biggest football game in the world. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of those stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. All right, let's talk weather now. The sun broke through for a little bit here in Spokane today, but it didn't really warm things up. Let's get out to meteorologist Thomas Patrick in the Outdoor Weather Center. And Thomas, my goodness, the next few mornings will certainly be chilly.
Yeah, this is going to be our change that we've been eyeing for the better part of a week or so. And we'll put it this way. Today's temperatures, totally normal. In fact, basically right on average for this time of year. But it starts getting a little bit colder for a couple days. Look at tomorrow morning as our temperatures will largely hug around the mid-20s. But I think at some point they might bottom out for an hour or two, closer to about 20 degrees here in Spokane. And you see plenty of teens on the map for the northern half of the inland northwest. That's just Tuesday morning. Wednesday morning, even colder yet, closer to 12 degrees in Spokane, 10 in Coeur d'Alene, and now single digits in these northern areas. Not the coldest weather of the year, but the coldest weather we've seen so far in about a month, really since around New Year's when that was a bit closer to 0 degrees. A little bit of snow over the mountains. We'll be eyeing that for a couple more days and show you when's our next chance of snow across the inland northwest as well. Those details in a few minutes.
Sounds good, Thomas. Thank you very much. Looking nationally now, the FDA gave full approval to Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine today. The shots have so far been given under emergency use authorization. So this is the second COVID vaccine to be fully approved by the FDA alongside Pfizer's. Johnson & Johnson has not applied for full approval for its COVID vaccine yet. Cleanup work continues after a bridge collapse in Pittsburgh. Today, crews used cables and cranes to lift a bus out of the ravine. Take a look. City officials say 10 people were treated for minor injuries. Investigators are still trying to identify the cause of that bridge collapse. And take a look at this fire tonight out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The fire is at a fertilizer plant. No reports of anyone getting hurt, and the cause of that fire is still unknown at this time. And that was your KREM 2 News, 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. All right, don't go to bed just yet. Coming up after the break, we'll hear more from one of Sam Strahan's family members as they tell us what it felt like to learn about his death after the shooting at Freeman High School. And later in the broadcast, Eastern Washington's former wide receiver heading to the Super Bowl will share how he feels about going to the big game. We're back in just 90 seconds.